This is pilleater, and I recorded this on August 23rd, 2022. Once upon a time, around 2019 to 2020, a word started appearing in everyone's Twitter feed and around small far-right circles, and as well, Twitter space in general. That word was Kantbot. I didn't know what Campbot was. I just thought it was some Twitter user that got his account banned and associated with groypers or something like that. Supposedly the word kept fluctuating around, and to me it just sounded like urban legend. In my own mind, Cantbot sounded like some kind of dirtbag leftist hipster, sounded like someone who lived in Brooklyn, sounded like someone who gets the camera and the flashing pictures all the time while they're walking the red carpet. It sounded like somebody who said really big things and then was canceled for it and went in mystery. Again, I never bothered to Google search Cantbot because I would get nothing but obscure meme pages about this so-called name. And so I never bothered or never ever was a fan of Cantbot. I don't think Cantbot was someone I would talk to, or that Cantbot would be a user that would be in my circle. So I just let it pass and just assume, well, whoever this Cantbot is, he must be this GigaChat of sorts and happened many years ago. And I guess he's some alt-right blogger or some post-alt-right blogger, right? Right? Well, no. And he isn't the GigaChat in my head. Finally, for the first time, there was a Twitter post by one of my friends, Stained Haynes, and he had a screen cap of a certain particular user who blocked him, and he was going on about it. I actually tried to find that user too, and it turns out that user blocked me as well. And of course, Stained Haynes told me, yes, that is the Cantbot. And I tweeted back, so that is the Cantbot everybody's been talking about for 2-something years. I never even bothered interacting with him, and yet he has blocked me. And I just had to go down a rabbit hole with that. Lo and behold, I was able to find a Kiwis farm of Cantbot, the entire history of William Clark, or Cantbot. And my expectations of this mysterious man has been basically much shattered. It's no longer the picture of this gray GigaChad, but something more peculiar, more horrendous, and more on the levels of Christian. In 2016, in the hip area of New York City, Arkham and his best friend at the time, Logos, who were neo-reactionary and anti-feminist, anti-SJW bloggers, decided to go and celebrate Trump's victory. Of course, getting on video camera, they can then be autistic and describe how great Donald Trump had something to do with quote-unquote German idealism. Already this sounds like some hilarious type of anime right thing, or saying that Trump twinks for Trumps, ladies for Trumps. There were many kind of these internet bleeding into voting Trump kind of trigger the libs mentality, and autistic kids ranting about German idealism that voted in Trump would set their entire career path. I remember those few weeks when Trump was voted in, and I never caught on to that, little small meme sections of that. But nonetheless, I do remember a kid who I was friends with named Phil, who was pretty much called the anime Trump voter, who would carry a milk jug and all that. I guess after that moment, this is when there would be a roller coaster ride between a period of 2016 to 2019, where Campbot and Logos were just considered normal internet users that would just talk in post-Unite the Right, or I shouldn't say post-Unite the Right, but in post-alt-right circles. And as well the period of post-UTR, when the criticisms came in. Especially around that time, I do recall in 2017 and 2018, Arkham and Logos would constantly like my tweets, and I would like some of his tweets back, and I was really appreciated what he had to say about things. Even so, he would actually talk to the Robert Stark and get on the Stark Truth 2 times. And his wit and interest sounded more like on the level of tier of Brandon Adamson, and as well as just pretty much a dude who just likes talking about politics and saying all the criticisms of what's happening right and left, and at the same time having an anti-liberal message, being against the state, being against the neoliberal state, while being kind of creative and crafty with it with the internet username. I didn't think much about Logos. I just thought Logos was just a normal guy in kind of the Twitter scene, having someone no greater, no bigger than 3 to 5K followers, and that's it. He would just be some dude who just blogs. Of course, something really did change in 2019, and this I have also unfortunately ignored. Enter a pretty woman by the name of Alex Lee Moyers. This typical white-looking woman, that's a very hip degree, decided to make a film called TFW, No Girlfriend. I guess that feeling when and no girlfriend. And to, I guess, my surprise, it was what I thought it was, a hit piece, but supposedly it has circulated as the incel film, or at least a film about how weird Twitter posters are, or something like that. I've never seen the film, and from hearing that title alone in a film like that, it sounds like a typical, another Netflix drama about a hit piecing on who are so-called the manufactured incels from Vice magazine. And I think I'm not too far off. But the connections go, and it shows you that Alex Lee Moyers was dating at the time Cody Wilson, who was advocating 3D printed guns, and as hell had a sugar daddy thing and tried to get a boy or a girl to get into his room. And he does a lot of shady activities in Taiwan. Whatever that Peter Thiel deep state bucks is, they're all based in Manhattan anyway. So, Kantbot, New York. Logos, New York. Alex Lee Moyer and Cody Wilson, New York. Obviously, still in my head, this kind of had this image of a dirtbag left type of Brittany Ventney type of ordeal that you just should stay away from. You hear rumors of being that guy who's saying something anti-liberal, and then you get hip about it in a new Vice magazine way. Well, again, I have never seen the film. I don't plan on seeing it. But after when the film was aired, this is when Campbot got popular. Not just about German idealism with Trump, simply that the piece, from what I'm hearing, is that it was this portrayal of him as a school shooter. And so, with that, Campbot got very paranoid and very strange about it. And that's when he started to be more of a Christian locale type than anything. And sooner or later, Logos would side with him on this project. And they were politically all over the place from then on. There was another period in 2019 I fondly remember, when everyone was criticizing Unite the Right. Logos was one of those users who would criticize the Unite the Right and say everything's a problem in that kind of alt-right culture, thinking that came from a lot of good faith stuff. And I guess somewhere along that line, Campbot had at least 4 or 5 accounts, constantly being obsessed with trying to figure out and fix alt-right issues. And that's where his obsession with BAP comes in. Is BAP a legitimate person? Can BAP be doxxed? According to Campbot, he is a person. However, a lot of that turd flinging and accusations and doxing there was that period in 2019 of all this doxing and all this revelation showing up post Unite the Right. Hell, I was even a participant in it when Greg Johnson was on me, or at least his posse. And so, I guess Campbot and Logos took that to extreme, and their criticism of all these dysfunctional figures just made them into Marxists, or at least someone who opposes the right so much, they reinvent themselves as basically red tube neoliberal shills. And this is the annoying part here. So, the alt-right quote-unquote section that Kantbot and Logos was in, they were just attending Trump rallies and being a part of the then popular 2015 to 2017 anti-SJW video essaying, which short fat otaku does still. And Kantbot and Logos just doing that came more off as can't stump the Trumpers. They were never really associated with Richard Spencer, Greg Johnson, Colin Liddell, or any of the pre-paleoconservative Jailard Taylor scene. They were just more like the internet voting for Trump. And so, with that in mind, they're going to keep riding whatever wave of anti-liberalism, anti-liberal sentiments that 4chan has. And so when All Unite the Right was a big failure, that's when Campbot and Logos were pretty much deciding, looking for reform. And they were riding the same train of saying, yeah, Spencer, Johnson, whatever, these figures, they're not to be trusted. Now, that riding came about when BreadTube was getting popular. Or at least BreadTube, this kind of sect of deprogramming, dewashing raw-right people or something, or at least taking up the spaces that were once predominantly alt-right. Now, I guess what Brendan Abson predicted alt-left, was it really racially conscious left-wing to begin with? That's another story. But what happened was you now see this alt-left happening in the same playbook, but this time now with Vosh and Thought Slime, and those are getting popular, and I believe that duo, Mario and Luigi, decided to cash in and ride that popularity, increasing their numbers further and betraying a lot of people in the process. And that basically included me, and him just, Logos just pretty much snubbing me off when I guess we were about to play board games in San Francisco. So fast forward, me just finding out all this incoherent stuff about Kantbot and Logos. How, I guess Campbot blocked me because I told his sidekick Luigi that he was a hypocrite and questioning his academic integrity, and I guess I get banned for that. But there are many internet chat logs and whatever about Kantbot's bizarre heckling and strange autism of sorts. Now, I would like to get in more to the deeper concerns of who is motivating Kantbot and Logos' behavior and who supports them. Trolls do. Hipsters do. People who believe in this new Twitter paradigm, and let me get into that now. I believe there was an article, and they considered Kantbot an ironist, or someone advocating irony. It goes all the way back to Trump supporting German idealism. Okay, it's funny that Donald Trump is running for president. You could say whatever you want about it. But there's just something really goofy when you associate him with German idealism. It's very technical. And so somebody who actually, I don't know, understands German idealism should listen in. But when you put the words together in word salad fashion, it's kind of a prank. And so Kantbot and Logos, I believe, are not legitimate intellects. They're pseudo-intellectual. And what they're really doing is that they went to these fancy schools. You know, Logos went to NYU in a Russian and Slavic department, and now I guess he's in fucking California with his rich Harvard white girl wife, and they do coke together, and they don't even translate Russian and shit. But they don't translate Russian into English. They're not using the liberal arts in such a way that could get them anywhere. They are reading things, claiming to read huge works of books, claiming to know an esoteric topic, claiming to know how a computer works, and that's the joke. It's like this bizarre, funny, new age, niche, schizophrenic autism of sorts. And this is what the New York elite actually like. I think if you go to any Bushwick rooftop party or whatnot, you have Campbot and Logos there, Mario and Luigi. And they're talking to you about how Logos is Heidegger and Jesus Christ and why you should vote for whatever. That's what they're doing. They're regurgitating the little skit about Trump and German idealism over and over again because they know that's what gets views. It's like the failed Campbot podcast. It's like Logos self-publishing his books. They're two businessmen struggling. And listen, it shows you that the hipster subculture rubbed off on them. About 2 years ago, or now, Logos looks like some kind of Bushwick vaping whatever. You know, he has insecurity issues about what he looks like. This is weird. It's kind of like what Sam Hyde did to his body. It's like Sam Hyde trying to be a boxer. These are delusional, stay-at-home, like rich kids with autism, and they're just making these fucking shady connections from Thielbucks and all that shit. And Campbot claims he's not backed up, and he's making a joke, a prankster Frank Hassel joke, about how Peter Thiel owes him money. Even Frank Hassel will, like, talk about how autistic Kantbot is and DM him. And Sam Hyde gives him a platform. What does that say? So, I don't take Kantbot and Logos with any sincerity whatsoever, and kind of the joke's on me. There is this meta level of trolling going on. And that meta level of trolling is that they're just saying things to sound interesting. They will go with whatever likes. You know, they could be a little anti-liberal. And now I understand. John P. once called me and made a long conversation to me about why political correctness is good. But that's the gag. You are always in character, gagging, being an ironist, saying bizarre shit. And so this is why they dragged me in. Oh, well, Pilleater's an Asian Aryanist. Obviously, no one's going to take that philosophy seriously. He's just like Garcam, Logos, and John. That's why he belongs. No, I'm actually sincere. And so this is ultimately the problem with that cast, is that they're kind of like these people who just shitpost and meme, then use their meme imagery within their speaking points, and this is where they get the fucking Kush NYC parties. The Kush Cali tech jobs. And so this drives me crazy with this fucking type of subculture, because then you're never sincere about anything. You're just saying some bizarre, you know, it's autistic. If you call them out in your shit, and actual intellect and PhD calls them out on that, the person who's morally and ethically affirming, they'll wrap around their autism. Actually, a Campbot and Logos fans for some time were stalking me and saying how I don't understand them. And guess what they would do? Say I don't have a proper reading of Heidegger or this obscure esotericist. Are you fucking kidding me? It seems like they're just putting this out as this fart-sniffing hipster jokes of sorts. Like this was a type of behavior manifested at least 7 years ago in this kind of upper middle class. Again, it's a way to sound hip on the e-girl level. It is fashion and subculture on this artificial level. It is not sincere. And so this is why you'll have John P. and some of the $1 Million Extreme crew advocating and supporting Campbot and Logos. Well, they're just saying a bunch of shit. It sounds cool. We actually like it, but you know, if you think about it, anything can be sincere. It's kind of like internet art. You know, you are an artist for just saying word salads and using it as a pranking method. Oh, they're such good pranksters. They want Peter Thiel his money. They want to destroy their entire audience. They want to be this. They want to be that. But it's all of it is pandering to mainstream media to make money. It's not sincere. It's not some 4D chess move about, yeah, I betrayed my entire anti-lib audience in favor of a neoliberal one, and now I'll go back to... No. Yes, we can use the low-cal queer culture thing, but in all actuality, it's the dysfunctional hip shit. Rich kid hip shit. And this is not a form of intellectuals. This is a form of kind of masquerading. I would make a longer video on this topic, but I just feel like I should call it out now, and I think everybody knows this on Kiwi Farms and other close associates. Because whenever you point out the littlest things about why do people, right, talk about, like, they never follow up what they say. They don't have proper books. They're just making connections or some shit. And so I thought maybe I'd end there, because really it's... Going back to the GigaChat image, Kantbot is not this gray, muscular man. He is this fat, autistic kid that says a bunch of shit, and he kind of became this poster child of the hip kid. And this is what the fucking NYC hipster shit does to your brain. It's really pathetic. They're not in it to create art. They're in it to be this kind of say random shit, continue the e-girl industry of irony. It's stupid, and it's funny that it's like I have to my dreams and realities are destroyed when I actually study who the fuck Campbot and Logos is, and it's just a bigger problem than what's happening in front of us.